Oh, hello. Welcome, everybody. MrBrock.net, your favorite online YouTube AP World History, and now AP United States and Government and Politics and GoPo teacher. Make sure you smash that like button or the dislike button. The freshmen haven't heard the dislike button joke yet. And by the way, make sure you unring that bell and hit me up on Patreon for all of your favorite things on the internet. So, youtube.com/MrBrock.net, spell out DOT, of course, for savings. Yeah. So, what we are here to do today is go over FRQ4. This is the example FRQ that AP has given us. Long live and prosper the AP gods. We bow down before thee. And so here's all this awesome stuff. I think I need to turn the light on this. Let's see if this works. It made no difference. There's my hand. Okay. So we're going to look at the prompt, and I'm going to show you what I wrote. And I'm going to have you guys help me finish it. I'm here with your favorite freshmen. Interesting, no seniors. I wonder if they've ever come to one of these things. I've got a feeling maybe not. But I've got all your favorite freshmen here after school on a day they do not have to be here, which is either out of respect for me or a deep, deep fear of what's coming at them on Monday. Either way, they're here, so that's good. I got a lot of number twos out in the audience. I'll take B. So first we're going to look at the prompt, and the prompt is here. And the prompt reads, very blurrily, develop an argument that explains which of the three models of representative democracy, participatory, pluralist, or elite, best achieves the founders' intent for American democracy in terms of ensuring a stable government run by the people. Well, everybody in my class knows that the rich people run the government, and so I went with the elite theory of representative democracy. And it says we can use Brutus 1, Fed 10, U.S. Constitution, and we must use one of those three for one of our pieces of evidence, and then we get to choose from another foundational document or our study of the electoral process. And the options on this one are wide open. And I think that that's kind of the trend we've seen on GoPo FRQ4s that they've told us about. Is it's not really about you knowing stuff. It's more about you being able to explain what you know. They're not going to throw some random court case nobody's ever heard of at you, and you just sit there and go, That's not what's going to happen. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I heard that day I fell asleep in GoPo in fifth period Bailey. And something happened, but okay. So hopefully, but what it looks like for me is these are things that your teacher has yelled at you so many times that you're probably going to know it. It's just, can you show it? Oh, that's pretty smart. So, it says we need to use reasoning. Oh, hello.
Students, tutoring is now over.
Oh.
Have a good evening.
Tutoring is now over. But you have to stay 15 more minutes. Use reasoning to explain your evidence that supports your claim or thesis and respond to an opposing or alternative perspective using refutation, concessions, or rebuttal. I hope they have nachos. Now, those are concessions. And so here is what I did to answer our FRQ4. See if you can see the salt that I used in my essay. So first, I'm going to do my introduction with my thesis statement, and I'm starting right with my thesis statement. The elite model of representative democracy best achieves the founders' intent for American democracy in terms of ensuring a stable government run by the people. Do you see I just copied and pasted that over? This can be seen in the ruling for Citizens United. See, I put U.S. there. It's FEC. This is why we revise, right? Instead of look at the back of Molly's head like Natalie did. Hi. Does she have any lice or anything in there? She's just staring forward. So, Citizens United versus FEC. And then I go ahead and throw in a little piece of information here where it says, which allow for a small group of elite U.S. citizens to gain, and notice I just one line through the thing I messed up, to gain a gigantic amount of control of the government. And it can also be seen in the Constitution itself, where Madison attempted, I did not call Madison a slave owner in this essay, I should have. It can also be seen in the Constitution itself, where Madison attempted to keep popular control of the federal government as far away from the average citizen as possible. Okay? Now, what have I done in my thesis? I have said this is my answer, right? Elite model is my answer. And I have, let's see, does YouTube work in the storms? Old man problems. Let me turn the light up here. That helped none. And so I've given my answer as elite model best represents it. And I have introduced two things that I can prove through an argument, right? That proof is shown in Citizens United and proof is shown in the Constitution. Is that defensible? It is defensible, right? It answers the question and we move forward, okay? So down here, I have the founders had very clear intentions. So this is me talking about Constitution, by the way. Founders had a very clear intentions on what a stable government would look like. They envisioned a government controlled by the people, but which people they saw as best fit to run the government was a small and privileged group of political and economic elites. The fact that the Constitution, written by a Virginia plantation owner, didn't say slave owner, but said slave owner, by a Virginia plantation owner, James Madison, allows only for popular control of the government to take place in the lower house of Congress, and then checks that power by forcing any laws passed by the House of Representatives to be approved by both the Senate and the President, both of which were appointed by political elites at the time. This shows how clearly he felt about the tyranny of the majority. I put in quotes because he said that. Madison and numerous other founders felt that, quote, excessive democracy would end up with communism at best and anarchy at worst. And both of those outcomes hurt the bottom line for him personally and those who he saw fit to actually run the government. So, what I'm saying in this paragraph is the Constitution proves that the founders wanted elitism. And because it takes so much power away from the general people. Okay? And then I went on to say how it even helps him personally and his friends. And all this proves that that's the kind of democracy he saw. And that's really how I see it. And so in here, have I given evidence from the Constitution that proves that Madison thought rich people should run the government? I have given evidence of that. And then after I've given evidence of that, I've shown how that evidence puts the elite in charge. Okay? And so from there, what we have is I'm starting to rack up points on the rubric. Now, as I was running short on time, and by the way, I was running short on time because I had to go get the pizza. I could have finished this in tons of time, I swear. I do tend to get long-winded, though, don't I? And so what I attempted to do in the last, I think I had like 4 or 5 minutes left, I tried to get the refutation in to my Citizens United paragraph, and I feel like I achieved that, and I want to let you guys look at it and see kind of how I did this. Because as I'm sketching out my outline, I'm thinking that the thing I'm going to try to rebut is that more people can vote now. So women can vote, people with debt can vote, non-landowners, 18-year-olds can vote. That was what. Sorry.
Black people question mark?
Oh,
Yeah.
they're voting. That's good. So there's 27 amendments. That's where they get you. It's a long day. It's hard learning in 8th period, isn't it? Okay, so Black people actually do, in fact, get the right to vote in the 15th Amendment, and then they actually start voting in, like, I don't know, 65, right? With the Voting Rights Act. 1965, by the way. Ha ha ha. Ha ha, not as in ha ha, black people. Oh, this is going bad. Ha ha, as in the teacher should know this. And he does, but it's late. That's where I was going to take it. But what I ended up looking at is I made this argument about how the president was elected only by a group of political elites in the Electoral College, and how the senators were appointed by the state legislators who were political elites. And so I decided to instead offer up the softball for me to hit. You hit the softball, right? What would the VA? No, okay. But that ball is hard. I don't understand that. But offer up the alley-oop for me to slam dunk the touchdown. Exactly. Hey, well, you know, we do directly elect senators now. And, hey, we have a popular election for the president, and that's how we get electoral college votes state by state. But you can see both of those things happening, considering we just had the 2016 election, what seems like 5 minutes ago, where we had someone who lost the popular election and won the electoral college. So we can kind of poke holes in that and say the elites won again. So I start with that, and I'll show you where I'm going here. There we go. Though one may argue that both the Senate and the presidency are elected more directly than at the time of Madison, one need not look further back in American history past 2010 to find evidence showing that even though more people can impact the government now, just a few giant corporations and millionaires truly decide what happens in American government. Look, I remembered Citizens United versus FEC that time. Citizens United versus FEC found that any group, individual, or corporation could purchase and run unlimited advertisements supporting candidates as super PACs. These new organizations do not have to list their funders and have barraged, I think was the word I was going for there, and have barraged local, state, and federal elections with so much money that the few people who actually do vote end up voting for the people that have been crammed down their throats by these giant super PACs. And where I was going further there is because this is exactly an example of rich people having huge influence on elections because of their ability to buy advertisements, then they are going to sway the voters and they are going to sway the politicians. Although they're not allowed to officially work along with the politicians, or when the politicians become government officials, it happens all the time. We agree with that, right? You could give an example about how insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, and medical companies killed Obamacare. You know why? Because they would end up getting less profits. So they bombarded. And that was when we didn't have Citizens United. Now, I believe this pretty important person named Ruth Bader Ginsburg said in the ruling, the notion that we have all the democracy money can buy strays so far from what democracy is supposed to be. And that was right off the top of my head. And I could have summarized it for you. And so the argument that I'm making here is that Citizens United kind of allowed, again, for Madison's vision of rich people controlling the government to last even today. And even though we've had all of these steps forward, I've been informed today that black people are voting, and all these steps forward, we have direct election of senators. This is a step backwards to a place where the elitism model is upheld more than ever. How does that sound to you guys? Now, as far as the rebuttal I was taking, that doesn't have to be a gigantic thing as your last paragraph. For your last paragraph, if you started it the way I did with the Senate and the president being popularly elected, we can refute the Senate by talking about the incumbency reelection rate, which is over 90%. Why is it over 90%? Well, I bet it has a whole lot to do with who's funding the campaigns. So the PACs are funding the campaigns, and the super PACs are secretly unlimitingly-ish location funding the campaigns. And so the Senate, even though they're popularly elected, they are really just appointed by these giant corporations. And then again, we talked about the rebuttal on okay, you say we elect the president now, but really, who does? I can tell you who does. 435 mainly male, mainly white, mainly old, mainly rich people, and not 325,533,367 Americans. Wow, how did I know the population of America right off the top of my head? Okay, so there we go. I hope that helped you a little bit. I got to do this. This is how you get views. I want to know what you think about the government. Make sure to respond in the comments. Put that all right down there. And that'll do that. And remember, smash that like button. It's your boy, Mr. Brock. YouTube. Goodbye.